What you have before you is a continuation of a discussion we had 2 council meetings ago. At that point, the University of Idaho had approached the city with its request for a permit for the 2013 U of I Homecoming Parade, which takes place on September 28th, traditionally on Main Street. It's a parade that has been going on since the early 1900s. Since the council directed that farmers market be held on Main Street 2 years ago, 2 years ago. Last year, or I guess I should say a year ago, one market season ago, when the farmers market was on Main Street during the homecoming parade, the market was displaced back to its original location of Jackson Street parking lot. Staff presumed that that is how it would proceed again this year. The item was taken to the Farmers Market Commission, the newly formed Farmers Market Commission. The chair of that commission, Aaron Carroll, is here, ready to ask or answer any of your questions when my presentation is over. At that point, there were a few discussions at Farmers Market Commission. Essentially, a recommendation was brought through that the market moved to the parking lot. That was something that essentially was given to the Market Commission and the vendors as essentially that's where it needs to be. So it was brought to City Council as a recommendation of the Commission. Council at that point directed that the homecoming parade would be approved for Main Street as it has been traditionally, but holding back the question of where could the farmers market possibly be relocated for that one day. And when I say relocated, when we get to the results of the survey that was conducted among vendors, there were certain vendors who thought that it should remain on Main Street as the parade coexisting there with the parade. For safety reasons, that is impossible unless it is a walking parade. There are floats, motorized floats, there are children, there are booths, there are spectators. So at least with what we know today, without some restructuring, it can't be done in the short period of time we have before homecoming. So at council's direction and with the advice of the commission, there were a couple of surveys that were done within the past 2 markets. Those surveys took place both oral surveys or card surveys and then through SurveyMonkey. Essentially, which is an electronic survey for those of you who are technically challenged, such as myself. Lots of vendors didn't respond, amazingly enough, but based upon what we were able to find out, there were 66 vendors surveyed, 32 responded for a 53% response rate, which is a statistically valid survey. I'm not sure it's a statistically valid survey question, however. And the question that was put to the vendors was, do you plan on my suggested location for the relocation of the farmers market on September 28, 2013, the day of the University of Idaho Homecoming Parade is, and then allowed those vendors to go ahead and put in their response. Out of that, as you've seen in your memo, 16 vendors preferred to move back to the Jackson Street parking lot for that one day. 10 preferred to commingle on Main Street, which, as we indicated, is not possible at this point. Council direction, and there was a meeting that was convened in which the mayor participated, University of Idaho, representatives, vendors, farmers market commissioners, city staff participated as well. One of the ideas was to move the market south of 6th Street, perhaps in an attempt to keep it on Main Street, but just get it out of the way of the homecoming parade. At that point, one of the first things that we did was to go talk to the businesses on that south end of Main Street. Gritman Medical Center was concerned about, hadn't had time to really analyze it, how it was going, what effect on emergency services, so on and so forth. So I'm not laying this at Gritman's door, but it's just one of those things that there wasn't sufficient time to be able to flesh it out. So that was something that we didn't pursue enthusiastically because we didn't have the buy-in of the Main Street businesses, as we did for moving the farmers market to Main Street in the first place. We heartily engaged and enthusiastically engaged the Main Street businesses in that move. So 10 preferred, again, to stay on Main Street. 4 thought about going out to the Latah County Fairgrounds, and 2 said they had no preference. So again, about 50% of the survey respondents indicated that they would like to move, or they would prefer just moving back to the Jackson Street lots. That information and the same survey that you have before you was brought to the Farmers Market Commission last Thursday. Aaron, would you like to talk about that meeting? Okay. So I'll turn it over to Aaron, and she can tell you about the recommendation made by the Farmers Market Commission.
Thanks, Gary. We took this issue back to the Farmers Market Commission last week on Thursday after getting the results of the survey and reconsidering some of the information that was presented. We talked about, again, multiple locations that were available for this year and beyond, different accommodations that we could make so the city and the farmers market and the parade can coexist peacefully on the same day, celebrating all the great things our city has. And the commission voted and stays with our same recommendation of moving the farmers market for the 2013 season to the Jackson Street parking lot, letting the parade have Main Street for that day. And the commission looks forward to looking at all the other alternatives that were brainstormed by vendors and by the city and by the university for the upcoming seasons. Given that we didn't have as much time as we'd like to make some of those recommendations or to make emergency plans, as Gritman stated, and all the other things that need to be considered, we thought for the 2013 season it should go to Jackson, and we should look forward to better collaboration for 2014 and beyond.
Thank you, Erin. I think that meeting truly was a picture of collaboration, and I was very encouraged by some of the comments from University of Idaho homecoming committee representatives, and especially Tim Helmke, who was kind of offering not just an olive branch, but some real workable solutions that would help highlight some of the vendor offerings and engage the homecoming parade participants in activities in the market area. Have you heard any follow-up on that as to what they might have decided or how that will play out yet?
Specifically for this season?
Yes.
Yeah, they've offered us to have a vendor parade presence, so be it if we can build a float made of vegetables in that time, we'll certainly try. But having a presence in the parade, and then we're continuing discussions with them about making announcements during the parade about vendor highlights and things that are going on to encourage people to stay in the downtown area and shop the market before the big game and things like that. So we're still hashing out those details, but they're certainly helping us brainstorm some creative solutions to increasing participation at both events and keeping people downtown.
Yeah, I like that spirit of collegiality. That was great. Walter?
Aaron, an earlier commission meeting took a vote on the move, and if I remember correctly, the 2 or 3 vendors that are represented on the commission abstained from that vote. Is that correct?
Correct, for the first recommendation.
Right. And this time they voted.
Yep, they all voted aye.
Okay, for the Jackson Street. Okay. As I said at the last council meeting, we talked about this. I was one of a couple of people that brought up the question of staff having made the decision to move the market to the farmers market to the Jackson Street lot, and the mayor was the other one that had concerns about it. And my reasons were that I felt we had really overruled the vendors in their desire to stay in the Jackson Street parking lot and not make a permanent move to Main Street. The council made that permanent move, and my vote for that was because of what was it, Wayne, 86% positive survey result of customers. And I think I made the statement to the effect that if this council ever sees anything they can get 86% on again, they ought to grab it.
I remember that comment.
So we did it in spite of the vendors' objections. I'm sensitive to the vendors and to what we might be doing to them, and felt that some discussion was needed. I'm glad it has occurred. I will support this. I appreciate your comments about looking at future seasons. I think that needs to be done, and would encourage the commission and staff, Gary, to look ahead. And if this is the permanent, forever, homecoming day's coming, we're going back to Jackson Street, so be it. That's okay with me. but it does need to be, I think, thought through, because the market is just huge. You have trouble walking down it on Saturday mornings, and it's wonderful, with people from Pullman and Lewiston and the visiting football team fans and so forth. It's the greatest thing going. I understand tradition, I understand the homecoming parade, fully support the University of Idaho, but we need to, like whatever your wording was, make these two great things work together.
Thank you.
Dan, did I see your hand up?
Okay.
Okay.
You know, I've just been thinking about this for quite a while, and I try to remember when the football schedule comes out, and the market goes until the end of October, correct? You know, so that,
It didn't used to.
that's just, to me, you know, and again, it was, you know, we created the commission, you know, basically you're getting these tasks all of a sudden, you know, that's learning trial by fire, I guess you'd call it. But we should know a lot sooner when homecoming is next year. And like Walter said, if this is the, I guess we could call it the permanent Site B, that'd be great, you know, as long as that's something that, you know, who's to say that we aren't going to have a dozen parades next summer? And I doubt it, but, you know, we might, again, have a 4th of July parade someday, and that might coincide with the market. But, so, yeah, I'm glad that we're putting this to bed.
Tom?
I just wanted to add that, as I said at last week's Farmers Market Commission and that collaborative meeting, we were trying to figure out alternatives. I really like the suggestion that somebody came up with about sliding the thing south of 6th Street on Main Street. There's plenty of linear space for that if you compare those two sections of Main Street. And if we could start working now with those businesses, with Gritman and so forth, to figure out next year, we might find that would be a more attractive Plan B. And so I'd really like to see us, try to figure out that option sooner rather than later. Let's not wait until, next summer to start talking with them about that. So if there's something we can do, that would be terrific, because I think we might have other reasons to move it, as Dan said, so let's think about it now.
Sue?
Well, that is an option as long as you're south of the fire department, and then, but
Yeah,
remember we put all the power and all those light standards in Jackson Street lot. And I especially, I was reading all the Survey Monkey comments, and I like the one that said assign vendors back to their old, going for the Jackson Street lot. Assign vendors back to their old spaces because those vendors will know the ins and outs of those spaces, and it'll save some time and heartache, and then place the new vendors in additional spaces as needed. I thought that was nice. And, one of the things you can do is if it turns out you have too many vendors, then you just limit the number of walk-ons for that particular day or move the walk-ons somewhere else. But I'm glad that the commission weighed in and got a chance to, I think, the comments made that knowing things sooner and giving the commission a chance to weigh in without like, oh, hurry up, this occurred yesterday. So vote now. It's really difficult, but yeah, I'm glad you got the input.
Okay.
If I may.
Yes, Erin,
I want to
please.
say thank you for hearing our recommendation, and that we plan to start September 29th of thinking about 2014. And I think I can speak for Gary too, in that we're looking for a permanent plan. And if you do approve 12 parades for next summer, can you put them on a Sunday? That's my other recommendation,
go.
not on behalf of the commission, but just for myself.
So in this instance, how would the council like to proceed? Dan?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the farmer's market condition to relocate the market to the Jackson Street parking lot on September 28th, 2013.
Second.
Okay, I heard Tom's right there. So Dan's motion, Tom's second. Discussion, Wayne? No. Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none? I hear Gary breathing. No? Okay. Tim, we'll start this roll call vote with you, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, your colleagues on our behalf.